Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Bold and the Beautiful. Steffy's vows don't include killer for stepdaughter. Bold and the Beautiful will likely have Steffy Forrester considering the discovery of a killer stepdaughter way beyond her marriage vows, for better or worse, on this CBS soap. For Steffy, this likely goes beyond worse. Before anything else transpires on Bold and the Beautiful, Finn will likely go for an immediate paternity test. Poppy Nozawa, Romy Park, denies any chance that her nephew is the father. But he still cannot shake his thoughts about Luna Nozawa, Lisa Yamada, being his daughter. So he would likely insist on confirmation, one way or another. This likely means another paternity test is on the way. If Finn discovers he's a father instead of an uncle, Steffy Forrester, Jacqueline Messins would, and the Forrester family likely play a big part in this storyline. One of the problems to expect is that Finn neglected to tell Steffy about his semi-taboo relationship with his aunt. Despite Poppy's denial this week, on Bold and the Beautiful, John Finnegan, Tanner Novlin, still believes he fathered Luna Nozawa. If he is the father, many relationships will change drastically as B and B rolls along. Finn would be the father of a mentally damaged woman in her 20s. Then Lai Finnegan, Naomi Matsuda, and Jack Finnegan, Ted King, become her grandparents. Sheila Carter, Kimberlyn Brown, also becomes a grandma. Sheila becomes the biological grandmother to a young woman who some may say is a chip off the old block for the woman with 9 toes. But Steffy Forrester, Jacqueline Messins would, likely bears the brunt of this discovery with feelings of anger, shame, humiliation, and betrayal. Steffy becomes the stepmother to a murderer, and her son now has a killer as a half-sister. This might not sit well with Steffy, but it certainly won't sit well with her dad, Ridge Forrester Thorsten K. Bold and the Beautiful had John Finnegan unaware that he possibly had a daughter. We learned this week that Poppy and her adopted nephew shared an intimate one-night romp 20-odd years ago. But Poppy assured him back then that when she became pregnant, the baby was not his. But now he's angry, not because he didn't want Luna for a daughter, but because he missed out on her childhood. So if John Finnegan is the father, he will likely step up and own his daughter. This will leave Steffy in a quandary and most likely her father, Ridge, seeing red. Steffy loves Finn, but back when she first discovered that Sheila was his biological mother, their marriage took a hit. Steffy finally concluded that her husband couldn't be blamed for this, but this time it is different. Again, if Bold and the Beautiful confirms that Finn is Luna's father, Steffy Forrester will likely have a fight on her hands. If she decides to stay with Finn, some in her circle will likely warn her against this. First, Steffy will need to work through her feelings of betrayal. Finn never told her that he slept with his aunt. She will likely find that disgusting. But Steffy probably blames Poppy for seducing her younger nephew at the time. Finn describes their encounter when talking with his aunt this week, and she sounded like the predator. Once the word circulates among the Bold and the Beautiful characters, Steffy will find too many roadblocks against her staying in her marriage. Ridge Forrester will likely lead the pack, and he won't sugarcoat his words if Finn decides to step into the role of Luna's father. Ridge won't want Steffy Forrester or his grandchildren affiliated with the new killer in the family. Then there's Liam Spencer Scott Clifton. This guy will likely fight tooth and nail to keep Kelly Spencer, Sophia Paris McKinley, away from Finn if he publicly acknowledges Luna as his daughter. So, even if Steffy Forrester bites the bullet and stays in her marriage with Finn in his new daddy role, she might not be able to. If Liam threatens to go for custody of Kelly over this, it could be a game changer for Steffy Forrester. Bold and the Beautiful. Steffy's vows don't include killer for stepdaughter. Steffy Forrester has always been known for her fierce loyalty, sharp intelligence, and her unflinching sense of duty when it comes to her family. As the daughter of Ridge Forrester and Taylor Hayes, she's grown up surrounded by the dramatic highs and lows of the fashion world. But none of that could have prepared her for the heartbreak that would come in the wake of her own complex personal life. The latest twist in Steffy's journey is a dramatic one, forcing her to confront not only her emotions, but her very sense of who she is, what she stands for, and how far she's willing to go to protect those wedding vows. Steffy's wedding day, once supposed to be the happiest occasion of her life, turned into a battlefield of emotions when she stood at the altar, gazing at the love of her life, Finn. It was meant to be a beautiful moment, two people who had come together through the turmoil of past relationships, lost loves, and personal growth. Yet, in the midst of their joy, a shadow loomed over Steffy's heart. This wasn't just any marriage. This was the union of two people trying to forge a family together, while navigating the complexities of Steffy's existing bond with her stepdaughter, Kelly Spencer. Steffy had never been one to shy away from difficult challenges, but this challenge was one she hadn't quite anticipated. Kelly, the young daughter of Steffy's late husband, Liam Spencer, was caught in the middle of a fierce tug-of-war between Steffy and her father. The child's loyalty was torn between the two people who meant the most to her, creating tension that was difficult to navigate, even for Steffy, who prided herself on being the strong one in every situation. But as Steffy looked out at the smiling faces in the audience during her wedding vows, she couldn't ignore the lingering doubt that crept into her mind. Her vows were meant to be filled with promises of love, support, and commitment, but one thing that was missing was any mention of the killer who had haunted their family for months. The killer in their midst. Liam Spencer, Steffy's ex-husband, had a tumultuous relationship with his own daughter, Kelly, which had only gotten more complicated with the arrival of an anonymous threat that seemed to follow them every step of the way. It wasn't just any threat. It was a malicious presence that was determined to hurt Steffy's family and create chaos. And in the most shocking twist of all, it was revealed that the killer who had been stalking them was none other than Bill Spencer, Liam's father, who had somehow gotten caught up in the web of deceit and revenge. For Steffy, the revelation was both an emotional bombshell and a moral dilemma. As a mother, she had to find a way to shield Kelly from the devastating truth about her grandfather's involvement in these crimes. How could she keep the peace between the two families and ensure Kelly's safety without exposing her to the unspeakable horror of what Bill had done? The delicate balance between protecting her daughter and protecting her husband from the man who had once been his greatest influence seemed insurmountable. Steffy's internal struggle. The weight of Steffy's internal battle became more apparent as her wedding day approached. The killer had been captured, but the damage was done. Bill's betrayal had fractured the Spencer family, and Steffy found herself grappling with a dilemma that no one could have prepared her for. How could she continue to trust the man who had been such a central figure in her own family's life? Was there still room for forgiveness, or was this the end of the line? Steffy's relationship with Liam had always been filled with tension and unresolved issues, but when they had shared a family with Kelly, their bond had seemed more solid. Now, however, the foundation of trust they had built was shattered by Bill's actions. The betrayal cut deeper than Steffy had imagined it would, and she wasn't sure she could ever view Bill the same way again. The man who had once been a pillar in their lives was now a symbol of deceit, and Steffy couldn't find it in herself to forgive him, not just for the sake of her marriage, but for the sake of Kelly, who deserved so much more. As Steffy looked at the love of her life, Finn, she felt torn. How could she stand in front of her new husband and pledge her eternal love and devotion to him, when the truth about Bill's actions threatened to destroy everything? She couldn't, and the weight of the situation almost overwhelmed her. She needed answers. She needed closure. And she needed to make a decision about where her future truly lay, with Finn, with Kelly, or with the world she had known before the tragedy. The shattered vows. In the end, Steffy's vows didn't include a killer for her stepdaughter. because she simply couldn't bring herself to speak of him in that context. She loved Finn and she loved Kelly, but the unresolved darkness that had cast its shadow over their family was too great to ignore. Steffy's vows became less about the romantic ideal of a perfect marriage and more about a promise to protect, to love, and to navigate the storm together, no matter what it brought. In a bold and heart-wrenching move, Steffy left the words about Bill Spencer unsaid, but they hovered in the air between her and the people she loved most. Her vows didn't just reflect her love for Finn. They reflected her commitment to her stepdaughter, Kelly, and her belief that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them as a family, united by the truth and by love.